Hi kids, moms and dads and grandmas, grandpas and everyone else. Here we are in Minnesota on Rush Lake and it's beekeeping time for me. I'm Cindy Lou and I'm excited because you and I are going on an adventure together. We're going on a honeybee adventure and today's the beginning of our adventure together. My adventure started last year when I had this colony over here of bees and I was putting them in a snowstorm. But today it was raining all day in Minnesota. And you think that would be bad for the bees, but the bees really like it because it's Earth Day and the flowers now can grow. And why do bees need flowers? If you said it's because they need the nectar and they need to be pollinators, you're right. The bees that are going to be in this colony and the ones that are in this colony are master pollinators. We need them really, really bad, and we need to take care of them. And I decided to be a beekeeper because I love everything about bees. And now I'm going to love taking you on an adventure with me. So today I picked up a box of bees, they're right down here, from a place in Schaefer, Minnesota. And that's about 35 miles away from here in Rush City. But you know what? These bees were not born in Schaefer, Minnesota. They were born in California. That's about 2,092 miles away from Schaefer. And then I picked them up there and I got them in the car and brought them here. And you know what? These bees, 2,092 miles, that's about over 30 hours it would take if you drove it solid. But the driver, he didn't drive solid. He probably had to go to the bathroom once in a while like you or I would have to do if we were on a big, long trip. And he also had to maybe stop and eat and check on the bees occasionally. And I thought it was really neat because he went into his trailer and I heard a saw. And I thought, what is he sawing? Well, my bees, they came in a box, and I have them covered because it's a little chilly out here today. And they came in a box which was connected by these little wood stakes with other boxes. And here they are, all in there, and they're surrounding the queen. They only met the queen probably about 4 days ago, maybe less, and they're getting to know her. She is not in the box really with them. She's in her own little box, and I'll show you that in a little bit. In this is 2 pounds of honeybees. And I don't hear them much now. They're a little quiet. I think that they thought, oh my goodness gracious, this is cold here. We were in California. And I bet in California right now it's about 70, maybe even 80 degrees compared to today right now it's probably below 40 right now. Maybe even like about 36 degrees. But pretty soon I am going to be putting them in this box right here. And you see I have my garb on here. We can't be working with bees without a net over us. Some beekeepers have a whole white suit. I just have a half one because I'm more comfortable that way. I'm a little shorter, like some of you. Some of you are probably taller than me. And it doesn't work real well. But I do have my boots on because it's real wet here in Minnesota. We've had a lot of rain. We had a lot of snow before too. And the bees are going to be happy with this rain. And I tuck my pants in because I don't want the bees to go down my legs and possibly sting me. But you know what? I've only been stung once. Once last year when I was putting these bees into getting them ready for winter, and one got stuck inside me here, and it wasn't the bee's fault. It was my fault. I didn't pay attention, and she was going zzz, 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 trying to get out of there, and before I could let her out, she stung me. But that's okay. If you get stung by a bee, you take your fingernail and you dig it out real quick, and then it doesn't hurt as bad. And it only hurt for a little while. And I'll get used to it if they sting me more. It's okay. So here they are in here. And oh, I have funny gloves, don't I? Pink's my favorite color. But these gloves are usually what beekeepers wear. They go up over here and the bees can't possibly sting you. But they're kind of big for me. This is a size small. I've got smaller hands. So I wear something like a garden glove. And it's still kind of leathery, so they can't sting me through the glove. And it's easier for me to work with things. So when these bees came, there's probably, I'd say maybe about 7,000, 8,000 bees in here. That's a lot of bees. And 2 pounds, and I can feel it's kind of heavy. And when they came with the queen, they were trying to feed her. She has a little piece of candy in her little box with her in case they don't. And they got to know her by smell. Bees smell. They can't hear each other buzz. We can only hear each other buzz. And they move around a lot to show each other what's going on. And we'll talk about that sometime, what they do. So there's a can. You see that can right there? In that can is a special nectar that they made with sugar water. And I made some of that today as well. And we're going to be using that. So I have to get that can out of there. But first, before I do that, I'm going to take my cover off. And this is an extra box that does not have anything in it, and I'll show you why in a little bit. And there's a special cover to go over the top of the bees. And in this box we have frames. And there's a special, there's like little bee cells. Those are, what shape are those? Those are little hexagons all over. Now the bees don't need somebody to tell them how to do it. But because I have these special hive boxes, I want them to make it better shaped. Otherwise it'd be big and fat and it would be hard to get these in and out. This way they make their little cells and with their wax all on top of those. We just kind of do some of the work for them ahead of time. So there's 10 of these, we call them frames. There's 10 of them in there and I take out 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10, take away 4. That's 6, right? So there's 3 over here and 3 over there. Now, first of all, before I even put the bees in, I have to put in this entrance reducer. Look at, there's a space like this and a space like this. This is for when the bees first start out, so they get in and out. Later on in the summer, I'll open it up like this, and then I might even take it out for a while. But it protects the bees from other critters from coming in, and it also protects them from the weather a little bit. So remember, right now I'm going to make it a real small entrance. I'm not going to put it like this because water could get in there in case the water comes up. I'm going to put it like this. So I put it right down here at the entrance. Look at what happened to I painted this, and I had a piece of tape on there so the critters couldn't get in, and then the paint came off. So later I'll have to come, but I don't want the bees to get any paint on them because the paint would hurt the bees. So right here is the entrance where they can go in and out later on. My bees over here have a little bigger entrance now because I changed it just a few weeks ago so they could get out and gather their things. So now I have to take this box and I'm going to spray them. It's not just water in here. I just made some nectar. I used sugar and hot water and I boiled it and I stirred and stirred and stirred and stirred. Probably about 5 pounds of sugar in the water, and there's nectar in here and nectar in there. Not the same as flowers, but we don't have any flowers right now in Minnesota. So that's going to be your job, is you're going to start to scope out the first flowers we get in Minnesota and see if there's any honeybees on them. And you know what? The first flowers aren't usually flowers. They're weeds in your yards. They're dandelions. And dandelions are probably the first food that Minnesota honeybees get, or even in the Midwest. Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, they're the first nectar that they will get. So if you don't pick them, you'll be leaving them there for the honeybees. If your moms and dads don't spray them, we'll be leaving them there for the honeybees. When the flowers start to bloom and they want to get rid of the dandelions, that's okay, but make sure you tell them not to use chemicals that will be killing the honeybees, because the honeybees are important for everything. We've got apple trees here. If we sprayed the apple trees and the honeybees tried to get some nectar and pollen from the flowers, and it was spray that could kill them, we might not have the honeybees around here and we wouldn't have any apples as well. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to spray them. It's not going to hurt them. Actually, they're going to kind of like it. But it's also, they're going to start eating it. So I'm going to spray around each side of them. I'll turn around. There was one bee that was hanging out around here. Oh yeah, she's still there. She didn't make it inside the box. So she's saying, you guys, I'm on the outside of the box. She's right there. And I'm going to spray her too. The only problem is nobody can lick the nectar off of there. And there's some dead bees in there, and that's okay. That's okay if there's dead bees. So I'll be spraying them. There she is right there. She's not going to hurt me. And they're in there all kind of relaxing, and they're going to start to eat and lick the nectar off of each other, and their bellies will get full. And then, now I'm going to take the can out. In this can was, oh, there's still a lot of nectar in there. And it's kind of stuck. Look at, there's wax that the bees have already put on this can. And everything you do around bees has to be slow. Real slow. Because you don't want to hurt them and you don't want to get them mad. But then I have to be ready to put, oh, it's stuck because they have so much nectar on there, or wax. Come on. Whoa, there they are. Here, I'm going to shake those guys down there. I'm going to spray them a little more. Ooh, there's a whole bunch in there. They're mad because I took away, and the queen, she's right here. Slide her out real slow. I gotta shake her little friends off of her. Look at them on her. Don't take my queen. Kind of shake them off. Look at, there's some of them crawling on me, but they're not gonna hurt me. I'll spray them a little bit more. Oh, they don't want to get off of her. Come on, get off of our queen. We'll kind of brush them off. Look at, they're still on there. Oh, and she's crawling around now. Oh, thank goodness, because you know what they told me when I picked her up? They said, make sure your queen bee is alive in there, because some of the queens have been dying on their way from California. I don't know why. Maybe he wasn't a good driver. They don't want to get off. They say, leave my queen alone. Oh, one's on here. I got to be careful. They kind of fall off of me. I want to put her in my pocket, and I don't want to have any of them on there. There's still these two that are saying, I'm feeding the queen. My job is to feed the queen. Leave me alone. There, now I'm going to stick the queen in my pocket. She's a little bit longer than the rest of them. She's going to stay warm in my pocket there. Now watch, this is kind of cool. Hey, little guy. And now they're a little noisy. I'm going to spray them a little more. Spray a little in there so they want to drink that nectar. These guys at the bottom are drinking. This bee came from somewhere else. He heard he was going to have a neighbor, I guess. Here we go. I'm going to tip them upside down, and this doesn't hurt them. And I kind of shake them a little bit. Can you hear them? They're saying, wow. And you'd think there's some mighty big bees in here. I think there's a, oh my goodness. I got myself a drone in here too. He wasn't supposed to be in here. A drone is a male honeybee. I was only supposed to be having the females, but he must have accidentally gotten here. And then it's okay if I kind of go, I'm going to squirt them a little more. I got bees all over me. Welcome to Minnesota. I can hear them. Look at those bees. They don't want to get out. I don't like it here, they said. It was nice and warm in California. Last year they got out right away because it was snowing. I'm not staying in this box. We finally have all our little bee friends in here. Can you see them? Come a little closer. They're actually checking things out. Look at, they're on the frame, checking out everything to say, hey, where am I? I didn't travel with this. This is kind of cool. But they are getting a little bit cold. So now, remember, we have to put the queen in there. And I am going to take my glove off just a little bit. For a little bit, because our queen is, remember, in my pocket, keeping warm. And I'm excited because last year when I got my queen, and we're going to see if we can get her in a position where you can see it. She just came, can you kind of see her? She came without a little dot on her back. But my queen now, if she could turn over, come on girl. They have put a blue dot on her head. I don't know if you can see it. She's crawling around too fast in there. She's getting a little cold. And they put the blue dot on her head so when I look into the colony to find her, I can find her more easily. We're going to try one more time, see if you can maybe see that blue dot. If you can't, later on when we start checking the colony, we'll be able to find her with that blue dot. She wasn't born with that. Someone actually took her in a little tweezers and took a little dot of paint and put it on her. I bet she didn't like it very well. But she has it on there and she doesn't remember that it's there anymore. All she's concerned about is getting with all the little girl bees in there, her colony. So now what I have to do is I have to try to get this screen off. What I might do is there's a little cork in here. I don't think I can get that cork out. I'll have to try to get the screen off. So I'm going to take a screwdriver and try to get, there's a staple in there. I'm going to go down here closer so when I do get it out, uh-oh, maybe the cork, no, the cork, something fell off of there. I don't know what that was. The bees are checking it out. I think I'll just leave it. See if I can get this underneath the staple. Last year I had a hard time getting it out too. Oh, there we go. All right. Are we ready? Let's cross our fingers that when she goes in there, her bee friends are going to be excited and she stays in there. So I'm going to loosen it up. Take that little staple out of there. Don't let it go with the bees. Don't want to hurt them. You know, put it to the side. And I'm going to open it up when I'm down in there. And I'm going to be brave. And I'm going to take off my gloves. But remember, I have to move slow. And I'm going to open it up. She's crawling out. Come on, little girl. Go in there with your friends. I'm going to just shake her out a little bit. Stay in there. Oh, come on. Got to be careful of the queen. All the other bees in the colony, once they sting you, they die. The queen can sting several more times. Oh, somebody recognized her. There she is, our queen. Oh, and I shook her off. I don't know if you'd be able to see her. She's right there. They're checking her out. Hopefully they're saying, yeah, we know you. We know you. You're the lady that we came with. You're our queen. They're kind of starting to gather around. So now what I'm going to do, and I have to be really careful again, is I'm going to put these frames, remember, back in there. And I have to watch and make sure nobody's on the edges so nobody gets hurt. They kind of spread themselves out. If they didn't spread themselves out in there, I'd have to spread them out. I would put my gloves back on and be real gentle and spread them out. So I'm going to go really slow. Here's a couple bees that were inside the box that were already dead in there. I'm just going to put them down here. But when bees die, that's another reason why we have a hole there. They clean it out and they take them out. Bees die. That's just what happens in life. And go real slow and put that in here. But what are they going to eat? Well, that was my job, to find something for them to eat. So now I have all the frames back in there. And I can spread them apart a little bit. Make sure they're a little even. They don't have to be perfectly next to each other. And I'm looking down in here and they've already come all the way out to the edges. I don't think you're going to be able to see that. but they're all the way out to the edges down in there, already exploring. So then I'm going to put a cover on there. This is another dead bee. Here's one I think is it dead? Yep, another dead bee. And partially because it's cold. So here's the cover on there, and there's a hole. See that hole? And oops, one thing I forgot. These bees aren't going to collect pollen quite yet. They're just going to get used to their surroundings. So that's what I'm going to do. These are called pollen patties, and they're kind of a special pollen type substance that someone made. And I'm going to put one here and one here, and they'll pretty soon discover it's there. And they'll start eating off of those pollen patties because there's no flowers that they know of yet. My other bees found some pollen, and I was like, where did they find the pollen? Well, they were flying that way, and I looked out there, and they were all over the pussy willows. When the pussy willows start to burst, they have pollen on them, and so they were coming back, and they had huge things of pollen on their legs. I bet they were excited. Now I have this on here, and there's that hole. In this bucket is more nectar. And last week I came and made sure this was kind of level, because if it's not, the nectar's not going to come out. And there's a little screen here. The bees will come up and they'll lick the nectar I made from warm water and sugar off of there. So I'm going to flip it over. Whoa, uh-oh. That was a problem. The cover broke off. So I'm going to just put on there what they have now, and I'll come back out later. Silly cover. That shouldn't have done that. I'll put them on there. That's a new one on me. So it's over the hole there. And there we have it. Now the bees, there's a little on the edge. That won't hurt them. They won't be able to get out to it. Maybe the other bees will come out and discover it. And then I have to put my wet hive box, shake it out a little bit, it won't hurt them, on top to protect the bucket. And then I put this on here. That's a cover to protect them as well. And then I always put some sort of cement block on there in case a big wind comes, or in case some little animal wants to try to lift it off. Right now we really don't have to worry about bears or anything. They're not going to come and discover them yet, but eventually I might have to worry about the bears. So I hope you learned a lot today about the honeybees on our adventure, and I want you to always remember to be kind, be adventurous, and be amazing. Until next time.